Hello, listeners. It is Three Girls, One Track. We are here for the Austrian GP. I'm your podcast host, Afsa.
I am Felicia. Bex died. I don't know what happened. Bex,
Rip
you're muted.
Bex. I think she's unwell.
Hi. You
right,
heathen.
Well, that's Bex. She has COVID, so she's going to be minimally here. Except for me and her's podcastly screaming match. She'll probably tune in for that. But this is Three Girls on Track, and we're gonna keep it short. We're gonna keep it sweet today. We're filming quite a bit after the Austrian GP, and I also still haven't posted the Canadian GP. Sorry about that one. So we're gonna be posting those back to back, and then you're gonna get Silverstone in a couple days, and life will maybe be good again. But as per usual, we're gonna start off with fashion. I am going to start, and I'm filled with a lot of conflict in my heart. Because I actually have a blended what not to wear in Project Runway.
Blended?
And it is Isaac Hodger. He is in a gorgeous color.
I love
in
it.
A dark green suit. He looks really good.
Yes.
Let's be clear. This color looks great. I agree with the way that he paired the color with the black.
I know why he's not.
I like the overall. I have issues with the tailoring and crumpledness of this jacket and the pants. Truly, I have issues with it. So, I mean, the person next to him, I'm not even going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about a homeboy next to his outfit. We're going to pass over that.
Which one? I'm a double
not
check.
Do
but
that.
Also, I hated the shoes.
I
get
the
he was
shoes
trying
are
to like make it casual. No, not with the pants being the way they are. No,
I think the shoes are fine. The shoes are more like a dress trainer.
Shoes.
The dress, well, that's an issue with the pant length. That's not an issue with the shoes. I'm perfectly fine with the shoes. I think the tailoring on this, as it does on many suits F1 drivers wear, leaves a lot to be desired. I think that his sleeves could be shorter. I think that his shoulders could be narrower. To me, this looks like an off-the-rack suit, and I simply don't think that they should be wearing off-the-rack suits. Now, what I will say is...
I just saw the person next to him.
Yes, it's not like they get paid a ton of money.
No.
So... like the rookies. So I will say, I don't expect him to have a closet full of tailored suits. But I do expect him, if you're choosing to wear a suit, for it to be tailored properly. So he's my blended Project Runway and what not to wear, because honestly, I really liked it. And then as I stared at it, I found more things I disliked.
Okay.
Honorable mention for Project Runway is the entire Aston Martin Formula One Aramco Racing Company. Because they have done something that I have rarely seen F1 teams ever do.
Which is
acknowledge that real women watch F1.
I mean...
they have come out with not a brand rehaul, but just a whole bunch of new merch and stuff that is clearly dedicated towards women. They've got a new nail polish color so you can wear Aston Martin green. They have women at the front of all of their merch pages right now because they literally just did a huge release, and they are making it so that it's clear that there's more to wear for Aston Martin than just team kit merch. And they're actually trying to make kind of cute clothing and items that women would like. And for that, I do enjoy that they've attempted to make clothing for real human beings.
Yes.
Because I feel like that is often drawn to the wayside. It's we could just put out team kit merch and it'll be fine. A lot of people who care about their fashion don't want to do that. So I like that they are taking the time to put out nail polish and earrings and bad pins and that kind of stuff. I think that that's good. So shout out, Queen. Shout out.
They actually partnered with, well-established brands tailored to women.
Yes. And I think that they should get a shout out for that because they're actually trying. So
I can happily give them that shout out. That's really good on that part. I love that. So
also shouting out Aston Matcha.
Sorry, go ahead.
at the Silverstone Grand Prix.
Okay. So, my Project Runway, is Isaac Hajar. And it's simply for the effort. You know, no one else has really been giving us much of anything this season. I love the color on him, like you said. I am not a fan of the shoes. I'm not a fan of the way that it's tailored, because it's not tailored. But I appreciate him for the effort. And for that, he gets my Project Runway. Now, for my what not to wear. Lewis Hamilton. Why did you not let your tailor finish your outfit? It looks like...
You don't know fashion.
No. It looks like he went into his tailor's office and just snatched up his thing mid make. Because what is that? It doesn't look like an actually made, like, what, it's a vest?
That
what was
is
it?
Maison Margiela, and it retails for, I believe, over $3,000.
He spent his money in not the best way. That's all I will say about that. Because no, I don't like this vest. It literally has the... Never mind. No, I'm not a fan. I don't like it. I think it's ugly. Try again next time, Lewis.
I think most things that are like cargo inspired are ultimately ugly. So
it wouldn't have been as bad if it was actually like a finished thing. It actually would not have been that bad. I would have had way less of a problem.
Yeah. So could be better. Could be better. That's for damn sure.
Anyway, so that's me.
All right. Well, Vex, you said you didn't have anything?
I got nothing for y'all. I saw the looks of Isaac Hajar and Lewis. And while I agree that Lewis' outfit is not my cup of tea, it is fashion. So, and Isaac looked like he was going to his high school homecoming.
Oh, homecoming is a stretch. Prom.
No, he didn't even have a tie on. Homecoming.
I don't think you need a prom for tie anymore.
Yeah,
a tie
you do.
For prom.
Sorry, I don't think you need a tie for prom anymore.
Well, he didn't even have like a button-down shirt. He had like, what was it, like a regular old t-shirt.
He had a
that's
t-shirt
giving homecoming. At least for a prom, you got to put a button down.
I'll give you that. Shirt on. I will agree with you on that.
A collared shirt.
Collared shirt, yeah. So I really don't like anything, and the rest of them just wear team gear. I've given up. I really, truly have. I'm defeated.
That's real.
All right, Vex.
All right. Well, let's get into news because we've got a couple hot new things.
Do it.
I say hot and new as if they haven't been sitting for like a week.
Oh, yeah.
First up is Sebastian Vettel is in talks to take over Helmut Marko's role at Red Bull and be the new like advisor, junior person.
Yeah. So I was looking it up, and I think Helmut Marko's contract ends next year. So he's potentially looking for a successor right now. And I think Sebastian Vettel would be a tremendous step up for Red Bull over Helmut Marko, just personality-wise, and, you know, not being like an evil human being wise. But I wonder, maybe following some of the other pieces of news that we have, would you want to take that position if a certain number one driver leaves? Like, that's going to be a lot of work to help build up that team.
Okay, I always forget that he's like not older than Lewis.
Because I think that Seb?
Yeah, I always forget that he's actually young and spry compared to Lewis. So I guess he could join again.
Oh, well, he's not joining as a driver.
I thought you said if the number one driver leaves.
No.
I'm just talking about like, so basically Helmut Marko is like the junior, like whatever youth development kind of.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like if Max leaves, that role now becomes very
infinitely
different.
Important.
very
But that's why you
important.
need someone like Helmut Marko out, and you probably need someone who was a driver in that type of a position, honestly, and isn't, old as dirt. So
No, and
Isn't
so
old as
I'm
dirt
just
is
wondering
crazy.
I'm
to
just
like
saying, have
what
you
that
seen
role
him?
looks like without Max. Because to be honest, like let's be quite frank, Helmut Markos, like he has rode English on the coattails of like Max at Red Bull for quite some time. And don't get me wrong, I obviously know that Helmut has his own like career and experience, but I personally just feel like if I'm Seb, I think it's a very interesting role, especially that's your former team. And I just think I would also come into the role and kind of restructure it to fit what you feel like you can bring, and not necessarily just to, slide in and take Helmut's place.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reconstruct the role.
I mean, I think that's what they need to do, is reconstruct the role altogether, because at this point, it seems as though they pretty much don't have a program. Because who are they able to bring up? They're not. They might as well not.
They have a program. They have 4 teams. They have 4 drivers, sorry.
You know what I mean, though, for Red Bull main team?
I think that it might be like, a lot of other sports called a rebuilding year. They may be approaching a rebuilding year sooner rather than later.
A rebuilding year? You mean a building year?
No, rebuilding. They've been built, and they may need to rebuild. That's all.
Okay. All right. No problem.
Sorry.
I mean, I agree. They do need to rebuild, because what is the pipeline, I guess, from? Do they do it from F2 or from F3, or do they, like, how does that even work? Do they get drivers out of F2 from other teams, or is there like a Red Bull F2 team that they like specifically focus on developing drivers? Like, what is it?
Like, what does Red Bull need in order to fix things? Or are you asking, like, what do they currently have?
Yeah, like, what do they currently have that, like, because it does, from what I can see, it that they don't have, like Red Bull, does Red Bull have, like, a Kimi Antonelli that they could pull up, God forbid, Max leaves?
No.
Exactly.
Not at all. So, I don't know.
They have an Isaac Hadjar.
I mean, yes.
But
great.
You know what I mean. And no, but look at what they've done to Yuki. They pulled Yuki from RB. And where's Yuki now? Struggling. Why? Because you're not developing your drivers.
I'm agreeing with
this is from the viewpoint of someone who's very new to this, but it just seems as though, like, they wouldn't say Max leaves, their only option would be to snatch up Isaac or Liam. And Liam's already proved he can't drive that car.
Yeah. It's a mess.
I'm just saying. And they're not developing people to drive that car. And then what happens if Max leaves? Max is the only one who could drive that car. Then you gotta scrap the whole car, start all over again.
I think it's just cooked. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I think that it's just.
It might
but
be.
I also
it might.
Think next year's the completely different. It's a new season for everyone.
Yeah.
New cars having to be built with new regulations. So I don't know.
Maybe that could be a good thing. And maybe when did they say Sebastian might be taking over?
They it's not really like a concrete thing.
It's not.
It's just whispers.
Yeah. Just
okay.
Potentially, maybe. Could be.
It's not even like it could be next year.
Like, yeah, it's nothing like serious. Like, like they're actually talking numbers and things like that.
Oh, okay, it's still just rumors and speculation.
Yeah. So
it was probably like, Helmut was someone they were having lunch, and Helmut was like, you know what, I could see you as my successor, and then someone ran with it.
Yeah. It's probably super offhanded, so who knows? But all right. Next up is apparently there might be an F1 race through the streets of Bangkok. They got into like discussions and approvals with Thailand's cabinet, so love that.
Interesting.
Starting 2028 for a 5-year deal. So fingers crossed we actually get that. That would be super cool. I would love Alex to have a home race. Pop off King.
Yeah.
So
because right now his quote unquote home race is what? Not China.
He doesn't have one.
He doesn't have one technically because they don't think that he's British.
He's British in Thailand, but he races under the Thai flag.
Yeah, so they refuse to acknowledge that he's British unless he does a good job at Silverstone. So, then they'll go, he's British.
This week at Silverstone, they will not mention him as a British driver.
Yeah. Unless he does really good. And then they'll be like, oh my god, he's British born! He was born in London!
Exactly.
No, but there is one city that he also refers to as his home race. Is it?
Well, no, he says Singapore's close.
Singapore.
He doesn't say it's his home race. He says it's close.
I think in one episode of Drive and Survive, he said it was like a home race.
Yes.
And I ran with it.
Yeah. So.
Well, I would love a home race for him. That'd be very sweet.
That'd be really good. But yeah. All right. Well, next up is I want to talk a little bit about Sergio Perez's podcast interview. I am struggling to find the translation I found of it on Twitter that perfectly explained every single thing I wanted to explain about the interview. Okay. So I'm going to have to go off of my memory and this one ESPN article that's not even about the interesting part of the interview.
Ew.
So I'm going to just list off a couple things that he said in the interview.
Okay.
Thing number one, which is that Sergio is saying that he has heard from people in Red Bull, from a very good source, that they are very sorry for cutting his contract. Basically, like, things are a mess. Okay. Checo also added that with the departure of Newey and then Jonathan Wheatley, the team gradually started to fall apart. Then he was also mentioning how the dynamic in Red Bull is apparently Christian Horner, like when he signed him, said to Checo, if we could only race with one car, we would. Sure, we wouldn't race your second car if we didn't have to. But we have to race a second car. And he said that his side of the garage got the least experienced engineers, the least experienced mechanics. Like, they poured all of their resources into Mac's side, and they kind of went like, well, we don't really want to run a second car, so like...
You get what's left.
You get what you get, and you don't get upset. So that was tea about Red Bull. And then he said that he would go back to F1, but only for a project where he feels like he should be. He's not going to go back to be like a reserve driver and like just putz around being a third driver. So, yeah.
Well, valid.
Yeah. And they tried to make beef of it with Max, but Max was like,
"No,
we besties. That's my Mia." He also the thing that made it so they asked Max about it. He was explaining what happened in Brazil that one year where Max refused to give back the spot. And he was saying that Max had an issue with what happened in Monaco, aka Checo crashing while Max was on the fat slap. And then he never told it to Checo directly, but then eventually they talked about it and got it cleared up. But then Max holds things in until he lets them out, usually on the track. And then Max was like, that's my bitch. So I'm sure that the way he said it isn't the way that you're trying to make me feel like he said it.
Yeah. So. I mean, listen, the press is always messy. Always.
And they need to.
But did he reveal anything that's not like, may not be fully like common knowledge to us, but it's not like surprising?
No, it wasn't like anything that was like, oh my god, we didn't know that. Because like, we all know that they prefer the first car. I think it's more so the language of like, no, dead ass. If we were not required by the FAIA to run this second car, we wouldn't even have you on this fucking team.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't know, my brain is short wiring. I'm just not surprised. Like, between Horner, like, kissing Max's entire asshole, I personally just I'm not surprised by anything. But I wonder if he still feels that same way now that, Max is at the top. They're not even top 3 of the constructors anymore.
No.
Like,
What
I wonder if he still feels fourth.
They're fourth. And I would also like to drop the fun little stat that I saw, which is that without Max Verstappen, Red Bull would currently be in 10th place in the constructors.
Last. I did see that as well. They would be last, which is crazy. You mean last behind a Sauber?
Behind a Sauber! Behind a Williams! Behind a Haas!
Yep.
Bitch, they're going... We'll talk about the rest of the Red Bull team in a second, but they might be looking at 2026 being a backmarker year.
I think...
I mean...
Doesn't everyone kind of have their day? And I think Red Bull's day is coming.
I want to know what the Red Bull curse is that lets them win 4 back-to-back championships and then, like, it all goes to shit immediately.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
I mean, we shall see.
We shall see. But all right, my next piece of news, because we're going to get to the real juicy news at the end, is apparently we have bullied the FIA into creating a standard guide of stewarding for...
Which is actually crazy that they
didn't have that.
One.
Like, why? When I saw that, I was like, one didn't exist already?
Nope. So they created a standard guide for how, like, the races should be stewarded, and it basically walks through, like, here's the tea of, like, what you should be doing, and, like, how, like, if you are a steward, which obviously the stewards still have final say on how things go, but if you are a steward, this is how you should, like, go through each of these different scenarios, and this is what you should do. I'm trying to find it to see if there's any other things that they said about it, but that's, like, the general tea of it. So, that's the tea.
I mean, hey, they finally decided to, give us at least something. Jesus Christ. It's about damn time.
It's about damn time. Agreed. But that was minimal tea, just some updates. And then next update is the update to next year's Formula One World Champion situation. The calendar, I should say. The races. We are slated to still have 24 races.
Ooh.
But we're going to be having 3 testing sessions.
Instead
of 2. I think instead of 2, yeah. 1 is going to be in Barcelona in late January. And then 2 are going to be in Sakir from mid to late February. So lots of testing. Lots going on. And then we basically have the normal run of show. I think it's basically the same as this year, except we have 2 Spanish races between Barcelona and Madrid. I don't remember what race that knocked off the calendar. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm so sorry. I don't know.
So is this Madrid's first year, or is it returning?
First. I think it's the new track.
Ooh.
I could be wrong. Oh, it knocked Imola off the year. I forgot. Imola's gone.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. But we'll see how it all goes. That's minimal tea. Just want to make sure that people know, because I don't think we've actually talked about it. And now our main tea, because we're just trying to keep it quick and fresh. Max Verstappen is rumored by Sky Sports Italy to be in concrete contract negotiations with Toto Wolff to take George's seat at Mercedes next year.
Well, I heard it hasn't been confirmed whose seat that he's taking.
Sorry, what'd you say, Bex?
Sorry.
I have heard that it hasn't been confirmed exactly whose seat he could potentially be taking.
That is true. There is tea that Mercedes, and this is less, I can't find the source for this. There's rumored tea that George was offered a 1+1, which is 1 year plus another year if we want to, and that he wanted something more long-term and stable. And so that he's unhappy with the offer he's been given.
Yeah.
And he's willing to leave behind that. Well, I guess, and they're maybe willing to drop him behind him not accepting that.
I mean, that's technically what ended up happening to Carlos, I think, last year.
Carlos and Lewis.
He was getting like a similar offer, I believe, from Mercedes, and he was like, I want something.
Yeah.
No. Wait.
Well, not the reason Lewis left for Ferrari, but one of the opening reasons was Mercedes was like, oh, we're going to do a 1+1. And they were going to not +1 him because that's the position that a 1+1 leaves you in. It's kind of like a half-assed way to like.
No, but I thought for Carlos Sainz he was getting something like a 1-year deal.
Also him.
Okay.
And that's question, in a 1+1, are you able to even be in talks with other people during that first year for that second?
You can always be in talks. That's what Lewis did.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
You can always be in talks.
Because, sometimes, like, I don't know if they have certain deals where you're not allowed to while you're in contract, but I don't know. Anyway.
I think you're allowed to talk. You're just not allowed to sign.
Yes.
Like, I know in other sports, there's like a certain period where you're not allowed to talk.
Yeah, that's kind of
gardening time, gardening leave, which I think is primarily for like,
basketball,
like more tech focused members of F1 teams. Like Adrian Newey had to go take gardening leave before he could go to Aston Martin, under the assumption that way any info you bring will be out of date enough that you're not literally going to Aston Martin and going, "Hey, here's the Red Bull designs.
Yeah,
these are the designs they're going to use next year."
But I actually think when I first heard this Max news, I was like, oh, everyone, Toto's been talking about Max, whatever.
And then Sky Sports UK posted it, baby.
At all. Until it was like getting quite serious. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, George and Max somewhat alluded to the fact that those conversations were happening. Because I think
apparently George did for sure. But
people were asking George, like, why hasn't he signed his extension? And he was basically alluding to the fact that he can't sign his extension or they weren't offering him an extension until they had finished their talks with Max. And like figured out if he was actually going to be available to them. So
that's wild.
And then I think Max was obviously a little bit more I don't know, stealth, but I believe he also somewhat kind of sort of alluded to potentially being in talks with Toto as well. Which is, I know Toto Wolff is going to freaking like
if Toto starts looking super happy around the paddock, we know what happened.
Absolutely.
The jig that he will do, he is going like. If he gets Max the way, and I'm trying to keep it like PG, but he will lose his mind.
Oh, absolutely. And why are we trying to keep it PG again?
I think she wants to say like "come in his pants," nut, something like that, and she just doesn't want to say it.
Exactly what I was trying not to say.
Well, that's what you got me for.
Well, but for real, like he's been trying to get Max for, I don't know, the better part of a decade.
He's been salivating after Max,
like,
from what I see.
He would lose his mind.
Just the way he talks about Max. Go ahead.
It would be so strange to see Max in a Mercedes. In Mercedes colors.
Yeah.
No Red Bull.
I'm waiting for it.
And like also, truly, like, are we going to see Max like rocking the Tommy Hilfiger? Or he's still just going to be wearing Mercedes?
Well, no, I'm sure that he will sign a deal.
It'll be Adidas.
He's going to have to drink Monster. Wait, is Monster still a sponsor for Mercedes?
No, they moved to McLaren, but Lewis is an individually sponsored by them. So
I'm about to say he's going to have to give up his Red Bull. I don't know. I think it would be quite interesting to see Max.
Well, I wonder if it'll be like when like Red Bull still sponsored Alex Albon for most of his career up until now at Williams. I think it's only this past year or two that he wasn't still sponsored by Red Bull, and it's not like they have energy drink sponsor. I'm sure Max could still drink Red Bull.
He might bring Red Bull with him.
Well, like he can still be sponsored by Red Bull.
Yes,
he could still be sponsored by Red Bull. Yes, that's true.
So because it's Red Bull, the energy drink, not Red Bull Racing, right?
Yeah, same way that they still sponsored Alex Albon for a while.
Yeah. I just think it would be very interesting to see. I think it would be interesting to see Max at a completely new team and to see him do his own, just to see what, like, if he struggles, like.
What if they don't send GP with him?
Wouldn't he just get Bono?
I don't want him to get Bono. I want him to take GP. Fuck Bono.
GP's not going to be at the race this week, or is it
GP wasn't at last race.
There you go.
And neither was Fred Vasseur. Clock that T.
Oh, I heard.
Clock that T.
Well, I heard. No, nothing good.
No, the streets are saying he's. Oh, his mom died?
Yeah, I heard his mom died.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know when it happened. If it was before.
This is horrible timing with all these rumors of sacking him. Truly,
exactly.
That's
unfortunate.
I know. Yeah.
R.I.P.
I know.
Yeah, but
bless up. You made a real one.
I really would love to see the whole grid just get shaken up in 2026.
I want to see some real moves.
Cadillac come in, new rules, new drivers, new teams. I like to see it blown up, and then it's almost like a whole new Formula One that starts next year. And I'm salivating, and I would love to see Max with a new team as well. Even though I don't really want Toto to get joy in his life in any shape or form, but I wouldn't. But I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Toto getting no joy in his life,
and I fear I have to agree. But fingers crossed. All right. Well, that's all of our news. Unless the baddies have anything else.
Nope.
Nada.
All right. We're going to get into this race qualifying. Listen, baddies, it's been days. And also, it wasn't that good. I mean, it was fine.
No.
But it wasn't that good.
It was a race.
So, and Bex also has COVID. So we're going to keep it light. We're going to keep it cute. We're going to keep it fresh for you guys. Dang. And I'm going to do an edited format for this qualifying because I think that we need to rethink qualifying so we're not always,
just go on Q1, Q2, Q3.
Always bored of qualifying. So instead, let's talk about each of our favorite parts of qualifying.
Oh, jeez.
And we can just keep it light, keep it fresh, and then we'll let people know, who ended up in the top. I can say my first part.
Go ahead.
Because this gagged me for real. I didn't realize that until I was reading through the notes. Every rookie made it out of Q1. We were shocked.
Yeah.
In fact, and I don't know how it happened. I do know how it's happened. That Red Bull is a piece of shit. Lawson out-qualified.
He sure did.
Max Verstappen.
Sure did. He sure did.
I don't know.
Stocks have never been lower.
I don't know what lot Liam is taking, but he had a very good weekend. Probably his best weekend ever in Formula One.
He was on one, apparently.
But for I think that all the rookies making out of Q1 for me was a pretty that was pretty good for me. Also, for me, Bortoletto, this being his first Q3, I was so excited. He had a great weekend, and I was just so excited to see him up there in the top 10, finishing. I mean, he didn't even come last in Q3. He was P7. P8. Sorry, P8. Okay. And I was just good on you, Bortoletto. So he was definitely my highlight of qualifying. Yeah, I think he did really good. I think that's it. I had no offense. Qualifying for me was not that great. Also, I'm not gonna lie. Carlos Sainz, what the hell?
Well, y'all just take everything I was willing to talk about. Go ahead.
Sorry, my bad.
No, you're good.
You talk about it, and I'll just jump in.
You already did. Go ahead.
No, Carlos Sainz, they said this is his third consecutive Q1 exit.
Yep.
This is the man that I don't know. He thought the world of himself that he kept the whole grid under suspense on where he was going to go.
Yeah.
And this man can't even get out of Q1 in the last 3 races.
The commentators were even saying Carlos. He spent years.
Get it together. I'm not even gonna hold him. I understand you're in a Williams. There's only so much that can be done.
That's not an excuse, though.
You were talking about yourself in some of these contract negotiations.
Alex Albon been making it into Q2.
Girl.
And you can't get out of Q1.
And he's shocked why Red Bull didn't want him.
Wow. And so for me, I'm just you need to get it together. because you were over here. You were like, he ended up going to Williams for like a 1-year deal, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. He may end up
not having a deal next year.
Last year. Well, it probably won't, but it probably won't. But I'm just saying, like, people are going to have some real big question marks on Carlos Sainz if he doesn't step it up. I mean,
backslide to news really quickly because of Sainz. His dad put out a whole official letter saying he wasn't going to be running for president of the FIA.
Oh, I forgot I didn't care about that.
I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. But I have a question for you. Did anyone really think he was an actual contender?
Yeah.
Enough for him to put out this whole statement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking.
I think he's like third place behind Susie and Ben.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that we could vote because I'd have Susie's ass in.
I know. I wish I could vote
Susie
too.
all the way. Anyway, sorry, you said Sainz and I thought about it.
No, that's all I have for Sainz. Sainz had a horrible weekend and he needs to step it up. That's all.
Yeah, we'll talk about him during the race. But I agree with what both of you. I mean, my favorite bit was Bortoletto, of course, and how well he did. But other than that, there really wasn't much to talk about other than what y'all already talked about.
There really wasn't. And to nobody's shock, surprise, we had Lando on pole in the McLaren made by the devil from the Bible. Leclerc in P2, Oscar in P3, Lewis in P4.
Which I love.
Used to pray for times like this. Let's go. Lawson in P5. Sorry, Russell in P5, Lawson in P6, Max in P7, Bortoletto in P8, Kimi in P9, and Gasly in P10. I would come to regret Kimi's Q3 placement. Love my baby goat, but he should have minded his own goddamn business.
Well,
that's or maybe Bex shouldn't have been back there.
And you know what? You know what, Bex? It's both. It's both. His ass had poor kid knows his ass had no business being in P7. I agree with you. That's what happens when you stay with the common folk. Okay, you were supposed to be up in the top 3. And you said you're messing around with P7 bullshit.
The common folk is crazy.
Messing around with P7 BS.
Row. What did he expect? Back there with the rookies.
Exactly. You with the
literally with the rookies.
You're sandwiched between the rookies. Men who have never driven an F1 car seriously before this year.
You're a champion. Literally, you were just a champion last year.
Don't remind me.
Oof. Great Guga Muga. Anyway.
All right. Well, up next we have the race, and we start in a blaze.
A blaze of glory.
Because Carlos Sainz...
Oh, wait. Was the fire during qualifying?
There was a random grass fire. There was a random grass fire.
Okay. Yeah.
It was none of our favorite parts, clearly.
You said fire and I thought about it. Anyway, now, back to Carlos.
But Carlos's car decided to catch on fire. I'm still not sure why.
Was it not starting? Like, I forgot why.
So sorry, it wouldn't start.
There you go.
Which was annoying. And then they had to abort the start lap.
Yeah.
So that just delayed the whole race by 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he managed to get himself started and go to the pit lane.
Yep.
And his brakes caught on fire.
Both of them.
Both of them, and they were on fire for a long periodically time.
And wasn't he trying to leave the pit when they caught on
fire? He was just like
seeing if like, oh, can I get out? Like, was this just a temporary issue?
Wasn't he going to have a pit start? A pit lane start?
He probably would have had to have a pit start.
Yeah, I think he was going to have a pit lane start.
Yeah,
I don't think he was trying to leave. I think he was just trying to see what the heck was wrong with his car.
Yeah. So,
and lo and behold. So, like we said, rough weekend for that one.
Rough weekend for Sainz. Not a good time for him. And then we start to get into our actual formation lap. They tick down the laps by one. And this is where things start to get a little messy.
Yeah.
Because we get onto the opening lap. Lights out. Norris, great start. Hate that for me.
Yeah, he had a great start.
Piastri manages to get Ferrari, aka Leclerc. Hate that for me. And Russell manages to get Lewis. hate that for me. Basically,
but he didn't really get Lewis. I thought by the end of lap 1, Lewis had him gotten back.
But he had gotten him.
Okay, fine.
He had gotten him.
He got by his ex-teammate.
Exactly. It's bad. And basically the start is the worst start for me that I could have imagined.
Okay.
Because what else happens after this?
Go ahead.
Kimi Antonelli.
Kimi decided to lock up and take out his future teammate.
Exactly. Thankfully, Max is a father to the rookies, and so he was like, "It's okay."
He's a father.
Is he a father to the rookies, or like that?
They all really like him. They all really like him.
The rookies are
he
like
gives me weird uncle vibes, not dad.
I don't think not weird uncle. I don't think
he gives me weird uncle.
Oh.
Like that uncle that you love, but like he kind of weird.
Oh, that kind of weird uncle. Maybe. I don't know.
Anyway, the rookies love him. Him and Antonelli, he's like, it's okay. It happens. This is what happens when you're a rookie.
He's, like you said, being nice to the rookies as he was not nice to as a rookie.
Yes, exactly. And that's not me negating the fact that Max was an absolute hellion as a rookie. But they were mean to him.
He seemed demonic.
But they were still mean. To an actual minor, a child, like a for real child.
Yeah.
Not even like a fake child like Ollie Bierman and Kimmy.
An actual underage person.
Yes, an actual 16.
He's not underage, is he still?
Max was. No. We're saying that they were mean to Max back when he was a rookie when Max was 16.
He deserved it.
He was a child. In
grown folks' business.
Okay. Put there by grown folks.
Okay, exactly. You wanted to be there, right?
It doesn't matter. The grown folks brought him all up in there. Put him in that business.
Listen,
and then these other grown adults.
If you want to play with the big dogs, you got to learn to be a big dog.
I think he did learn to be a big dog.
He did. That's why he's
to beat the shit out of
That's
a
what
puppy.
he is today.
Anyway, ignoring the discourse, Kimmy and Max, they're both out. There's a safety car. Hate that. But basically, the top 5 ends up staying as it is, except I think Piastri at this point has gotten ahead.
Yes,
Leclerc,
in second.
but Lewis has also gotten his spot back from Russell. So we are Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, Hamilton, Russell, and Gasly.
Which, wow, where'd he come from?
Yeah. Also, Hodger pitted like lap 4.
Yeah, what was that?
I think that he ran wide on turn 1 and got like gravel in his tires or something, maybe.
And he was on softs, right?
Yeah. You saw them all had to like escape Kimmy's bowling ball.
Yeah, he could have Valtteri Bottas.
Bowling ball is hilarious.
He could have gone Valtteri, and honestly, I would liked it. He should have done.
Who would you want him to take out?
Honestly, once Max is out, just start taking out everybody except for Lewis and Oscar. Take out anybody you want.
I needed someone to take out.
Take out George Russell.
Yeah, he could have taken out George for me.
Well, he could. I mean, ideally, he takes out Lando, but that's the benefit of being in pole. Nobody's taking you out like that. Yeah. But we now get into the stage of the race that I like to call, wow, this is really repetitive and annoying. And it is called Oscar Piastri in DRS of Lando Norris for the entire race. Except for when they pit, and then he has to make up that thing because the team is actively sabotaging him.
Well, can we talk about that?
I'm almost exhausted by McLaren's bullshit, where it's like, I don't think I can talk every podcast about how blatantly it is to me that Oscar is the safer bet for this championship, and so you should kind of just go with Oscar. I completely agree that, like, you have to let them both fight it out, I think, until after the summer break.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, it's exhausting.
What is his name? Zach Brown's hard on he has for Lando is what's getting in the way right now.
Yeah. It's exhausting.
His obsession is it's odd. I find it very odd.
It's not super odd because I mean, like, Christian Horner had the same one for Max, but
Well,
I think that I don't know. I feel like this race, though, I did see a lot more of them racing than I have in the past. So
yeah, I appreciated their
like
back and forth. I appreciated their wheel to wheel. I thought that like they did a good job at wheel to wheel. I was a little bit annoyed at Oscar's engineers for being like, "We thought your move was too marginal. You're gonna have to be more like, don't go for as risky of a move next time." And I'm like, bro, he didn't crash him out, did he?
Well,
and he wasn't even close to crashing him out, was he?
Well,
sounds like it wasn't too marginal to me.
Sounds like you need to get over it to me.
Too marginal would be like almost wheel bumping, and they didn't really almost wheel bump.
No, they didn't.
Like, I agree that once we start wheel bumping, I'm gonna like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Before that, it's all the same in love and Formula One racing.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, that's basically what we get for the next 50-something laps. We have a couple pit stops where Oscar gets behind because, once again, fuck my team strategy. But ultimately, we're kind of just watching, will Oscar pass Lando for 60 laps?
Yes.
Does anybody else have any feelings about those 60 laps? Because I don't have any other feelings about those 60 laps.
He's all over the back of his teammate. Will he? Won't he? That's basically what the whole race was.
I think the only thing that was interesting is when Colapinto kind of got in Oscar's way, and Oscar
well, that's at the end.
Oh,
I think
that's at the end.
I think that's at the end because I feel like I feel like I turned off the race like pretty.
It was like the beginning of the end.
Yeah, this was like lap 50 something. I think when Colapinto
the latter third
55 lap 55 is when he got all up in Colapinto's grill.
Whoa!
Colapinto got all up in his grill, I should say.
Yes. Yeah, and then Oscar was like, I guess Alpine finally had a chance to screw me.
Yeah, I think he said "fuck me," but
okay, sure.
He's Australian, they're the same.
Damn, but, you really think they were?
I don't know. It wasn't. Maybe like I remember in the past, like when I've seen like Max like just take off, and he's basically like is from like start to finish like so sorry I'm losing it.
I believe in you. When Max is dominating the races and he's just like out in front.
Yeah, I find those races so boring, and I didn't like this one was kind of boring, but I didn't like I think if I had to rate them, I would find this race more interesting than like Max dominating.
I think if I trusted this team to truly separate strategies, and well and truly Oscar's team is fighting to give Oscar the best strategy and Lando's team is fighting to give Lando, I would agree with you. I don't trust them like that. So to me, when Lando kept the lead in turn 1, I was like, great, they're going to use this as an excuse to give Lando the preference strategy, and Lando's going to win.
Yes.
Like, to me, the second Lando kept the start, I was like, cool, great. So
he's about to win.
He's winning. I accept that. I'm just going to see if there's anything else going on here. And like, there wasn't anything else going on.
There really wasn't, except Yuki at Colapinto getting
and their tomfoolery. But Yuki shouldn't even been back there.
Yuki's always back there now.
That's the problem.
That's where he is now.
Back there.
Oh my god, not his new home.
It is.
Remember, Red Bull doesn't need the second seat, apparently.
I mean, they don't.
Someone said it took Yuki 70-something laps to score the same amount of points as Max did in 2 seconds. Jeez. And I was like, or 2 minutes, sorry. And I was like, you know what? That's rude. That is very rude. But really, poor Yuki's doing nothing to help his team.
And I don't think that's his fault, bro. That second car is ass.
That's not. Because even Checo is complaining about the car. Max, who's doing well or well-ish complaining about the car. He's complained about the car. Liam, he had trouble. I think for me that's actually I'm going to get kind of annoyed about is that they are going to sort of use this season as a barometer for Yuki, and I more than likely do not see Yuki on the grid come next year unless someone wants to pick him up. But I just don't. Now that he's out of that V carb, Honda is no longer the what do you call it? The engine
manufacturer
maker for Red Bull. Like I'm struggling to see how Yuki gets a seat on the grid next year, and I just don't think this season's going to be a fair assessment on his talent.
Not at all. Because it seems as though Red Bull made just a piece of shit car this year.
See?
Oh, it seems like they just made like a crappy car this year, and it's just that's not a fair gauge of how well he'll do, because y'all have whole new regulations next year. Like, at least give him a chance for next year. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's upsetting.
Maybe. Do we see Yuki stick around if Max leaves?
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't afford to get rid of him if he does.
Or I think Yuki stays.
I think Yuki could stay if Max leaves.
No, that's what I'm saying. They couldn't afford to get rid of him.
Are they going to put fucking Lindbar directly in the Red Bull?
Who?
Their junior guy.
No.
He's not even in F1 yet.
Lindblad?
Sorry, I don't know.
I would say they probably could see, depending on how he ends the season, I could see them moving up Isaac Hadjar, which I think could be the worst thing for his career. Well, maybe not. Because with new regulations, if Max isn't there, they're going to have to build the car to their drivers. And if it's Isaac Hadjar and Yuki, they may actually have a chance.
But have we considered that Red Bull just is a backmarker team without Max? Like, have we considered that car is... Like, they just, the same way that other teams do, they have drivability issues. They have speed issues. And it just so happens they have Max who can, like, wring its neck. And it's less so that, like, they build a car to Max. Because, like, many of Max's teams have been like, it's not that they're building the car to Max. It's that the car that Red Bull builds is fucking undrivable. Mm-hmm. And Max's feedback makes it more undrivable. And he's the faster guy, so then it gets more undrivable because they prefer their feedback over mine. And so it's less so that, like, Red Bull is making Max a Max car that is undrivable for everybody else, but that Red Bull makes an undrivable car that skews even more undrivable because Max likes the way they made it undrivable. Is, like, what it sounds like is happening. Because Alex Albon is basically saying, like, the car starts hypersensitive, and then Max's feedback every year just makes it more and more hypersensitive. I'm curious if that's just the way Red Bull's car is at this point, and it would take a lot of time for them to build a car that's completely different.
Well, I guess they're going to have to do it anyway, so now's your chance to try something out. Try something. Throw up a Hail Mary or two. Try whatever you're doing right now is not working.
Do you know what? Max leaving could actually be
a good thing?
A blessing in disguise for Red Bull.
I think that Red Bull has a really bad year or two without Max. I think that it's going to... I think that next year there is let's say the Max leaves. I think that next year there is a genuine chance that Red Bull is a, 7th place team.
Well, they're going to be kicking it back there with the Alpines and the... one was Sauber. Alpine and the Haas,
Audi,
maybe?
Haas. Cadillac. Well, maybe Cadillac will have a really bad first year.
We'll see how they all do. It's gonna be regardless. It's gonna be shaken up a little bit next year.
Quick question.
Yes,
brought it to my attention.
What?
You said Audi, and Cadillac.
Yes.
I thought we're only getting one new team next year.
Audi is replacing Sauber.
Yeah, there you go. I knew I was struggling on something.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Of course.
My brain fog.
That's all right. But all right, we end the race. The race ends exactly how you'd expect it would end.
Yep.
With Lando in first, Oscar in second, but we do have Kimi Antonelli in third.
No, we don't.
No, I'm wrong. This is the wrong race. That was the last race. I'm so sorry.
What was it, Charles or Charles?
Charles. Yay.
I don't know why I said yes. That's crazy.
I was so stuck on oh my God, good things happened last time.
You said that with such confidence that I was like,
I was so sure I was right.
Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, I don't have anything else to say.
No, I was just kind of happy that the rookies actually did pretty good overall.
Yeah, we also had double points finish from Sauber. They've never seen that before.
I know.
That's crazy.
Love that for them.
Bortoletto, yet again. Proud of him.
We got points. We got points.
Alonso came out of nowhere.
We got Aloints.
Yeah.
We got points. We got Haloints.
Lawson.
We got Loints.
Lawson.
We got
what was he at? Lawson was up there
like
too.
Fifth
what
or
was he,
sixth, right?
No, he was like, he was 6. What?
Yeah, there we go. He was up there.
Ahead of Alonso.
Solidly top 10.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy to me.
Shout out.
I was surprised at this race. There's a lot of people in top 10 that I just don't expect to see there. But I'm also like, I was looking to see like, okay, who do I usually see in top 10 that's made room for these people? And it was like,
Max.
Kimi, Max. Hajar recently has been in the top 10.
I mean, he's been taking up spots. Yuki should be in the top 10 and he's not.
He won't be for a while.
It's
He
unfortunate.
came in last. Dead last.
Literally hellish.
But all right. I didn't have any post race because I don't think anything too interesting happened post race. So I want to get into our pop culture because Bex is sick and she's scaring the hoes with her sick. They're sick. So
with the vid. Because COVID loves you too much.
So we're gonna get you all pop cultured up to give you some life, and then we're gonna keep it pushing. My pop culture question for the ladies is: have you been an ally, and have you watched The Ultimatum Queer Love Season 2?
I am not an ally, and I haven't watched, but I shall be on my allyhood soon.
Same.
We got some fake ass allies.
No, I love Queer Love Ultimatum. It is on my list. I'm ready to watch it. I just have not had a chance to sit down. Like, I've had people staying with me. I've had things going on. I'm getting ready to go on a trip.
And you should have gotten them to watch.
Well,
because when I went to my beach house this week, you best believe everybody was watching The Ultimatum Queer Love.
Wow.
Everybody could get some. I had everybody sat on the couch and we're watching The Ultimatum Queer Love. Did it help that all of them were gay? Of course. But we made them watch it. All right. So I'm not going to give you guys any spoilers.
Resistance.
Oh my god.
No spoilers for the people.
Oh my god.
But we're just going to look at every couple and we're going to ask for your opening thoughts on the couples, and we can check back on what we said today and then talk about it then. So first up, we've got AJ and Brittany. They've been together for 5 years. And we're sharing the screen. You guys won't be able to see it but it's for the people. We got AJ and Brittany. They've been together for 5 years. AJ uses the she, her pronouns. She's 28. She was the Ultimatum receiver. And she is a Libra.
My people.
How are you feeling about AJ?
My people.
She looks like a problem.
Yes.
And I agree with both statements. She's my people and she looks like a problem. I agree. We got the knuckle tattoo of a diamond. AJ is an administrative.
The diamond is crazy.
It really is. AJ is an administrative assistant whose first queer crush was Tiana Taylor, and was once a radio personality in Orlando. Her and Brittany met because Brittany came up to her and was like, "Hey, I think you're cute," in the club. They both love to dance, and they say. AJ says that she's hesitant to marry Brittany because she doesn't want to always come second place to Brittany's business.
What does Brittany do?
Well, we're going to get into what Brittany does. Brittany is 27, also uses she, her pronouns, the ultimatum giver, and she is a Virgo, in case that tells you anything. She is a registered nurse / entrepreneur. Her first queer crush was Kalani. She loves dancing, her dog, and her bunny. And she wants clarity on where they're going, on their forever, on their future. I believe that Brittany owns a Vitalux.
Problem. Bunnies are weird.
Wait, say that again. Wait, hold on.
I believe that she owns a Vitalux or something.
A Vitalux?
It's some I don't know, man. I watched
like a vitamin store.
I think it's more so like a med spa thing. I don't know.
Say, is it like those vitamin those vitamin
the
IV
things?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like a med spa. I don't know. I watched, but honestly, I didn't care what business was. I just cared that she there was beef about the business. Anyway, what are our thoughts on AJ and Brittany? First impressions?
They're both
AJ
problematic.
Problem. Brittany, she was like, oh my God, Brittany's so pretty. She needs to leave AJ. But then I saw she got a bunny, and I was like, oh no, you two need to stay together.
A bunny should not be.
It is. I'm so sorry. A bunny is and the fact that you mentioned in your intro card that you have a bunny lets me know you are actually crazy. And okay, Asa, let me know. Am I far off with Brittany?
Yes.
Oh.
Correct. And that's all I'll say about that. All right. Up next we have Haley and Pilar. They have been together for 10 years.
Oh, damn.
10 years. Haley's a she, her pronouns. She's 29. She's the ultimatum giver, and she's a Taurus. Okay, a little bit more about Haley. She's a senior food scientist. Dream job. Love that for her. Her first queer crush was the 5 muses from Hercules. And she got to know Pilar when they were both orientation leaders after their freshman year in college. And, you know, Haley's queer identity was shaped by the No Hate campaign leading up to, I think, like, directly as a result of or leading up to the legalization of gay marriage. She wants a deeper commitment, da-da-da-da. Now, I want to tell you guys a fact about Haley and Pilar that I think will set the tone for their relationship.
Well, introduce it to Pilar first.
Okay, I'll show you Pilar. Pilar is also 29. Her ultimatum receiver, and she's a Libra. She's a physical therapist. Her first queer crush was Princess Kita. Her club debut as a DJ was opening for her favorite artist. And actually, I'm so glad that Pilar says it up front. This was my fun fact I was about to tell y'all about them. They have been together for 10 years. Yes. Since the summer of 2024.
2015?
Summer, no, because this was filmed like a year and a half ago. So they have been together since the summer that they turned 19. Jesus. They have never slept apart.
Oh, God.
No.
In 10 years.
That's giving codependent.
I don't know, codependency vibes. Has anyone been through any type of trauma where they feel they need to
Well, Pilar's trauma is that her parents do not approve of her sexuality. They are not accepting, and I believe that she barely has a relationship with them, which is upsetting. And Pilar feels that marriage is a pointless societal construct.
Oh, here we go.
So these two are diametrically opposed.
So she technically wants to spend the rest of her life with
yes.
homegirl,
so these two are very interestingly diametrically opposed in that Haley was really, really shaped by the lead up to the legalization of gay marriage, and so for her it seems like marriage is like a very right fundamental thing. Whereas for Pilar takes the exact opposite approach of marriage is basically fake, like it's a made up thing. So
that's unfortunate.
I'm
interested to see their dynamic.
Marriage is not fake, I'll tell you that, because when, God forbid, you die, Pilar, is it Pilar?
Pilar.
Yeah, Pilar. Those parents that you don't speak to, those parents that you don't like, that don't approve of her, they're going to be the ones that have a say-so on what happens to you. God forbid you become medically incapacitated, or God forbid you die. They're going to have a say. They're going to have a right to everything.
They have the decision making.
I'm just going to tell y'all, marriage is a piece of paper until it's not.
Yep.
Like, your birth certificate is a piece of paper. Ain't that important?
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, next up, we've got Kyle and Bridget. They've been together for 2.5 years. We have Kyle, who uses she, they pronouns, and is 30. They are the ultimatum giver, and they are Leo. She's also a graphic designer. First queer crush is Rachel Stevens from S Club 7. I imagine your generation knows what that is.
Yes,
down, bouncing off the ceiling.
Ain't no party like an S Club party.
I don't know what either of those things you're singing.
I'm irritated with you by saying stupid things like, "Oh, your generation."
You guys are millennials.
7 years younger than me,
and you're millennials. I'm a Gen Z.
I am barely a millennial.
Afsa, I don't think you understand. You were watching this stuff with us.
Girl.
You may not remember, but you were watching this stuff with us.
Girl.
Like, come
the
on.
only Steven I know is the Stevens family, right? The
Like,
even
girl,
Stevens.
we were in elementary school at the same time.
If we were to put on S Club 7, you would remember it. That's the thing. You may not remember it by name.
We were in elementary school at the same time. I'm 7 years older than you. She's 6 years older than you.
That's not how long elementary school is.
Huh?
Elementary school is 5 years long. First grade to fifth grade.
Oh, I guess I was considering like pre-K. No, elementary. What? To 10?
Don't worry about it.
So if I'm 10 and you're 3.
That's irrelevant. That's not irrelevant. I'm saying that.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, anyway.
For the sake of discussion.
Yeah, let's move on. Sorry.
Regardless.
She's irritating me when she does
we are within a decade of one another. We grew up together. I promise you, if we were to bring that up, you would know what S Club 7 was.
I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word.
Because S Club stopped when I was really young, so she probably doesn't know.
I'll take your word for it.
You ever watch Big Brother?
Like the reality show?
The show?
Yeah.
I mean, I have like seen clips and stuff. No.
Okay. Never mind. You would.
But all right. Not next up, but Kyle basically was drawn to Bridget. They swiped right on the dating app, and they were like, "Oh my god, I love you, I love you," you know. And Kyle is non-negotiable about marriage.
Why? In what direction?
Like wants to get married, hardcore.
Okay.
Doesn't say exactly why they feel that way, but she feels that way. Next up is Bridget, also uses she, they pronouns, age 28, the Ultimatum receiver, and an Aquarius. Among my friend group, we've been calling her Skinny Evil Gabby, my roommate.
Oh no, not
She's
Gabby.
not actually evil. She's not actually evil, but this is like a haircut Gabby would totally give herself.
Okay.
So that's why we immediately went like, this is Gabby, but if she was skinny and kind of evil. But she's not evil. She's just eviler than Gabby. This would make a lot more sense once you see the show and if I sent you a picture of Gabby, the way that Gabby looks right now. But we have Bridget, 28, writer/bartender, first queer crush, Zach and Cody.
Not Zach and Cody. Wait. Go back. Sorry. Say that again.
Zach and Cody. I can't explain it, but if you had a crush on them as a kid, you're probably gay now.
Okay.
Bridget feels that marriage is unnecessary and doesn't understand the point, but like many of the other couples, does see a forever with Kyle. And apparently at 2, begged her mom to allow her to watch the puppy episode of Ellen, where Ellen's character comes out as gay.
I just feel like if what's her name is Bridget, is not Bridget, Kyle is very adamant on, I think it's just time to cut her losses. Maybe she will after this whole ultimatum, but I think if this ain't it and it's a non-negotiable, cut your losses and keep it pushing.
All right. Next up, we have Mel and Marie. They've been together for 4 years. Mel uses she, her pronouns. She's 27. She's also been a receiver, and she's a Taurus.
Mel in that ugly suit.
Yes. I don't know why Mel is in this suit. Mel is a food truck owner/chef. First queer crush was Pink. She has trypophobia. And Mel and Marie have had a crush, but they started dating later. Their lives were kind of wrapped up into this food truck, which does indeed get an official link on the Netflix website. But they're wrapped up in this food truck. Marie wants forever, and Mel thinks that they've got to get things in order first.
Okay. Where's Marie?
We got Marie, bandage dress queen, who is 27. She, her pronouns, the ultimatum giver, and a Virgo. We got 2 ultimatum giver Virgos. This should not be shocking to anybody who knows how Virgos are. She's also the food truck owner / a butler / a bartender. Her first queer crush was Sophia Bush, my queen. And they met through a mutual friend. They met when they were teenagers. They started dating later. And Marie wants to elevate the relationship. She wants to know where she's going in life. She's looking for direction. You know,
how long have they been dating again?
4 years. And they own a food truck together.
I would say these two, from what you showed me, have seemed like the most potentially could get it together and be on the same track.
Maybe.
But 4 years is actually a really long time that they should have kind of started working those things out.
Yeah, and here's their food truck.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
I love that Netflix is
Florida.
going to give them a little,
Yeah, Netflix gave them a whole link. They ain't gave Brittany a link.
Oh.
They ain't gave Brittany a link. That's all I'm going to say. All right. And on to our next couple is Dana and Megan, who've been together for 1.5 years. That's ridiculous.
Why are you giving an ultimatum?
Why are you giving an ultimatum?
Too.
So Dana is
25.
Yes, Dana is 25. She, her pronouns. She's an ultimatum giver, and she's a Gemini.
Why
not going to speak on Geminis, but
listen, I love my Geminis. Don't do that.
Whatever.
I have a loving relationship with many Geminis.
I'm not gonna lie. I've met a couple of Geminis. I think I've not got along with any of them. It might just be the Gemini.
I know
Leo
a couple you get
connection.
along with just fine.
Who?
My friends.
Oh.
You get along with them just fine.
What's their moon though? What's their rising moon? How many Gemini placements do they have? That's what we need to tap into.
Hell if I remember all of that, girl.
Well, tap in. All right, Dana is 25. She's a relationship manager. Her first queer crush was King Princess. And she was immediately obsessed with Megan. But Dana struggles with an avoidant attachment style. Don't think that's true. And, Dana is not the one dragging the feet. Dana wants to be serious and plan a future.
First of all, anyway, sorry. I just think I don't know what King Princess is. Is that a cartoon?
No, it's a musician.
Oh, okay. She's a relationship manager, like a business relationship manager?
Yeah, like a client manager.
Okay, cool. 25 and only dating for like a year and a half.
Absurd.
I'm so sorry.
As somebody for whom that is literally the case, going on the ultimatum is absurd to me.
Yeah, I just feel like, girl,
this is not the stage to be levying an ultimatum.
If it was a year and a half and it was I think, or was it Kyle who was 30? I can understand that. You're getting up there. You kind of know what you want. You've been through enough relationships. But 25, I still feel like you're still trying to figure things out, trying to get yourself settled. No.
Yeah.
No.
Chill out.
Now, I don't know what Megan is like, but because that spelling is atrocious.
Well, girl, she's Middle Eastern. People spell things differently. Anyway, we have Megan, she, her, age 27, ultimatum receiver, and a Taurus, who is a business manager, first queer crush, I should say, Xenon from Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century.
Make my heart go.
Megan has an anxious attachment style. I do think that's true. And Megan has issues with her family. They're reluctant to accept that she's queer, so she struggles to envision a future where it's the one that she wants, where everybody's coexisting and happy and stuff.
That's sad.
It is sad, but she's 27. No, I think she's still not fully sure about Dana. That's probably why.
But also, it's only been a year and some change. Of course, she's not fully.
I think that you
sure
should
about
have to be in a relationship for at least 3 years to be on the ultimatum.
That's what I'm thinking. What was it? Was it the first season of the ultimatum?
Where everybody had been in a relationship for less than 2 years.
For less than, I was like, what is this?
Y'all need to chill.
What's the name? I remember, what's her name? Shanice?
Mm-hmm.
They just got married.
Yeah.
Shanice and Randall, I believe is what's his name. They just got married. And I think they were 24 when they went on the show. Yeah. So they're probably 27-ish, I think, now.
So it's what are we doing?
It was ridiculous. I'm like, I can't even take this seriously.
Wasn't there some of them that had only been dating for 9 months or not even a year?
I think there was someone under a year.
They have some under a year, yes.
Which was insane.
And they were also young. I can maybe see if you're 35.
And we've been dating for 6 months, and I'm like, bro,
are you
shut
insane?
The fuck up.
But I can understand if you're 35,
Yeah.
24.
I mean, I still think it's pushing it 30, to give an ultimatum, but yeah. Under a year giving an ultimatum is a little much.
Agreed.
I don't care how old you are.
Yeah.
Hate that. But all right, and on to our last couple, which I think is a very interesting one. First up, we have Ashley, she, her. She's 30. She's an ultimatum giver, and she's a Virgo. She's an account manager. Her first queer crush was Madison Beer. Do you guys know who Madison Beer is?
The TikTok girl?
No.
The TikTok girl.
Tate McRae?
Kind of, but imagine if Tate McRae was not actually a singer, but a TikTok girl who became a singer. My point being...
Okay, I just
you've been with
Merida for 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't even think Madison Beer was big on TikTok 3 years ago.
Well, didn't she get
You didn't have any queer crushes?
COVID?
Well, Madison Beer was your first?
I mean, she might be she's a baby gay, maybe.
Madison is young too.
That's what I was also saying.
Well, there's that too. Oh, yeah. Oh, like, how old was she back then?
Madison Beer is probably like my age, right?
Yeah. Well,
I'm looking her up. Putting American singer and songwriter was crazy. She's 26.
Well, I mean, they say she's been doing
30
music.
This isn't crazy. I think that Madison Beer is your first queer crush is insane.
I mean,
there's not a random cartoon.
Maybe she was denying, herself for a while. We don't know their backstory.
Yes, we don't know enough. Well, y'all don't know enough. Anyway, Merida and Ashley, they connected really, really quickly, and Ashley was certain that she wanted to marry her very early on. Ashley, and I want to read this quote exactly. Ashley says, I am getting tired of her inconsistency in our relationship, along with the fact that she never chooses me and seeks feelings elsewhere with other people. Reed cheats on me. I want her to pick me and know I'm enough. Also, wait, this is also another thing. Ashley calls out watching Shannon Beveridge and Cammie Scott back in the day. So how was your first queer crush, Madison Beer? I think that's the first bitch you thought of. I think that's crazy.
Child, who knows?
I don't know. Ashley seems like a little conflicted herself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll watch that. You'll watch.
She's dealing.
All right. Next up, we have Merida. She, her, 25, Ultimatum receiver, and she's a Pisces. She's an account executive. Her first queer crush was Miley Cyrus or Shay Mitchell. She is a diehard fan of the OC, and she's looking for the Alex Kelly to her Marissa Cooper. She's a true romantic, and basically feels like Ashley does not make romance a priority at all, and that she's not ready to settle for anything less than what she knows she deserves. And guys, that's the ultimatum, and it's pairings.
We'll see.
Who's the couple you think is most likely to make it out of here stronger than ever?
The food truck couple,
Mel and Marie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Wait,
and who do you think?
Scroll back down. No, definitely not
Dana and
Megan. Okay,
Megan.
I'll say, who do you think is destined for disaster?
Oh.
Do you know what? AJ and Brittany maybe, and Dana and Megan.
Okay.
Noted. And maybe Ashley and Merida.
Okay.
I would say AJ and then Dana.
Okay. All right, baddies. Well, that is Ashley's pop culture stop for the night. We're at time, so I'm going to let the baddies go. Please rate, review, subscribe. We've got Silverstone coming up in a couple days, so we will be posting these in probably a big drop. You guys have a lot of pod to listen to after Silverstone. So
content.
I will see you guys and looking forward to chatting more. Goodbye, listeners.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.